making sure everybody knows I'm still here, planning what we're going to do. So now I'm just starting to kind of ramp back in. Probably by next week, I'm going to start having guys back on site.
Do you, I was looking on, so we own a property at the Jersey Shore in Manahawkin, and I was looking for information on there, and I was reading how if the construction official says, if you want to work, you need to submit your, how we stay compliant plan before you can start it. Do you have to do that too? Before they can start a job, and then, because if they're without that, they'll shut them down.
Yeah, that in theory, we're supposed to do that in Philadelphia.
But it's Philadelphia.
Yeah, unfortunately, the city of hacks. So a lot of guys, what they're doing to work around that is they just have their guys coming in phases and working in different parts of the property and not submitting. So L&I, license and inspection, is having a hard time keeping up with everybody. But we are supposed to do that. Yes, we're supposed to submit what we call a make safe plan. So that he has on file what we're doing to keep our people safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I got Courtney on mute. I keep Courtney muted because I'm jealous of his voice.
Hey,
so I don't let him speak. He's not allowed to speak because his voice is just too, it puts me to shame. Makes me look bad.
He would be awesome in a podcast. He just has that tone.
Yeah.
Don't give him any idea.
Lockdown. He's out of control. Thinks he's Barry White. What's going on, man? How are you? You are muted, though. I'm not muting you. You're muted. Your audio, something's up with your speaker.
He can't hear you.
You're still muted, homie. And this is a shame because you're recorded. You're being recorded right now. You still muted. This is as bootleg as it gets. You want to get yourself together? Do you know how to use Zoom?
Because maybe the volume's down. Could that?
Test your on maybe on the bottom left-hand side. Click on the right the up arrow to your microphone.
He may not connect it with the
and
light.
Test your speaker and test your
Yeah,
speaker.
there he is.
Mic.
Is that better?
There.
Oh, barely, but you're getting there.
Okay.
Come on, Barry White. Let's hear it.
Don't let him make you self-conscious, man.
I'm just saying.
Too late.
So I'm recording right now, guys. So just so you know, just because I don't want to be illegal. And I was thinking about, and I don't know if I'm going to do it on this session or next session. I'll leave it up to you guys. You want to try to do a Facebook Live? What are you thinking?
Matter to me.
And then there's silence.
No.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
All you, Mark. All you.
It's your world, brother.
So we're recording. I don't care if I'm recording. I'm going to tell you why. I kind of think when we do it live, and when we go live, we should talk about our business a little bit. That way, people hear it and say, "Oh, it's that top of mind awareness." By the way, I recorded. We're going live. I recorded Maria, her podcast. I didn't tell you. I was going to tell you, but then I just got home and got lazy. The audio is a little bit. What's the word? It is a little poppy, but the content is so good. I mean, I don't even want to re-record it, and so it's so good. I was listening back. Like, it's funny when you're doing these things. I'm listening and we're talking back and forth, and then because my mind is trying to focus on everything, the next point. It's different when you just sit back and listen. I'm like, Maria, you a G. You don't even know what that means. You a G. I was like, this is, you dropped so much knowledge that I think people are going to go bananas when they hear it. I really do. Of course, that's my opinion. But that's what I really feel.
All right, now tell the old lady what G means.
Courtney, go ahead. Explain it.
So basically, it's a person who shows very admirable qualities. The G typically stands for gangster. It's what it means is someone who just has a reputation or something that is to be admired and even revered and followed.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's
Urban
the
Dictionary.
highest form of hood admiration. Right? You can be a G or you can be an OG. OG, I don't like being an OG though. Like, oh, Mark, you're OG. I ain't no OG, man. I mean, but a G, no, it's just somebody who has like that whole, they got it all together. Geez, you got it all together. And I mean, I was listening just to it, like listening back to it. And even when we were talking, I said, man, you kind of answered the question I had. You just flow and you just advise and you just teach, and it's awesome. So I can't wait to release it. We are I think live on Facebook. We are gonna go do a wow. Did I just freeze? We are gonna, my brain did. I was gonna say we're gonna talk about the podcast going forward, like just in little drops, but I really just excited to get that rolling. We are going live. I was supposed to go live May 1st, but it's May 1st. I can't do it on May 1st, May 15th. So we're going to start with a series of those podcasts. I think it's going to be really, really good. Right now we have a real estate broker. We have a doctor. We have merchant sales. We have credit restoration. So we've got a few of them lined up already. We have a young lady that owns a dress shop. And I thought that was an interesting one. Yeah, she owns a dress shop. And if she hears this, and she might punch me, I think she's Kansas City. I was trying to remember the city, Kansas City. And she said that if we buy dresses, we get ribs. No, she didn't. She didn't. But cool. So since we're on live, I want to just take a few minutes. We don't do this every time, but just give us your elevator pitch for your business. Who are you? What you do? That kind of thing. And why don't we do top left? And then the live thing, it's me. But next top left is Jonathan. So go.
Okay, pressure much. Well, my base platform, I'm involved in air conditioning and heating and cooling applications, residential installations and service. But ultimately, I've been transitioning into residential construction with a goal long-term of getting into real estate investing. So I'm trying to transition my construction know-how, always learning, of course, but trying to transition that construction know-how into actual real estate investing here in the Pennsylvania area, specifically Philadelphia and surrounding suburbs.
So, Jonathan, can I ask a question about that? Are you
this is a forum.
Fix and flip, or are you buying and holding?
So because of my current financial situation, I would love to fix and flip to build capital kind of quickly. And transition into buying and holding, because I personally feel I'm no stock market guru or economic guru, but just looking and paying attention, I have a feeling that where this economy is heading, holding properties, rental properties, passive income may be more of a way to go. But before we get there, I think we're going to have an uptick. So I would like to flip, get my income, get my capital up faster, and then start working on passive income. That's the goal.
Okay.
What do you think about that, Maria?
No, it's interesting, and because we've worked with, so I'll introduce myself, being that I'm.
Yes, please. That makes sense.
Okay. So I'm Maria Rini, and I'm a residential real estate broker, and we work with investors, and we've done flips ourselves. That's not our main business, but so I work with investors that do both. Fix and flip, and sometimes they'll buy something and decide not to hold on to it and then flip it, or vice versa. And so it's just a different style of investor. One becomes a landlord, and you have to, develop those property management skills and landlord skin and all that other stuff. And fixing and flipping is a little risky, and I don't anticipate we're going to see anything like what we did in 2007-8 downturn. A lot of guys got caught in that, where they weren't working fast enough to get in, get out. And I think that's my theory on a successful flip. You get in, you get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
and you don't over improve it. You know what you're building for.
So just to throw in a couple things with Maria. How many years have you been in this game now? The real estate
26.
game?
26.
So this lady's telling you her opinion, I would be listening, right? Because, you get a real estate agent who got their license last month. They're like, in my opinion, especially young people, right? In my opinion, the way the market's going to go. I see that all the time. It's like, dude, you didn't even dry the back of your ears. You telling me about your opinion? You don't have one. This is somebody who has experience. So they say, in my opinion, that's the one I want to listen to. You can't, experience is just earned over time. That's the way it works, right? Even when I started my tax business, I was giving people advice. My buddies, nothing that was really risky. And then like a year later, I was like, I can't believe I told him that. That was so unintelligent. But sometimes we get our license or we got our accreditation and then we think we know. Some things need time, man.
Sure.
So I'm listening to what Maria said, and I know she's got years in this industry. So valuable.
And I'd like to also vouch for Maria as well. She helped my wife and her and Richie helped my wife and I get our condo that we live in now 5 years ago, and it was smooth sailing. So I definitely vouch for what she's saying as well.
And here's something that's going to be of interest, Maria. Courtney is now getting into real estate investment. That's why he's on our call. He is investing in properties, and we have long conversations about long conversations.
I can't imagine.
Because Courtney, as he is wont to do, and it's not a negative thing. I think I'm the same way. We have a million ideas, and so sometimes we need to be able to get that laser focus to get something accomplished. So we've had conversations on, should I be doing buying and holding? Should I be flipping, and why? And Jonathan, I think we might have had some of those similar conversations. I'm at this point, I think it's all depending on where you are financially.
Mm-hmm.
And Maria, this is a great time for you to tell me I'm wrong. I think when you're in the wealth acquisition phase, flipping is the way to go. And then when you get to a modicum or a level where you have some reserves or what have you, then you start thinking buying and holding. I kind of look at it that way. As opposed to taking all your money, leveraging a property, having a loan, and then just buying and holding. If you're trying to make this a business and you're trying to really grow, I think you grab cash and then you start to get your process in place, and then you start to figure out your buy and holds. That's the way.
So I think part of that formula, though, is, do you have the cash to invest/risk in whatever it is that you're doing? Like, can you lay that out? Now, Courtney, are you planning on doing the contract work all yourself with buddies? Like you have trades?
So let's, if I can, Mr. Adams, Mark, I like to make this almost like a case study. So right now, I'm actually partnering up right now on a property with Jonathan Adams. We're in the middle of a flip right now. Had access to about
small world, right?
Yeah. So I pulled an annuity loan, pulled the HELOC, and a couple balance transfers. So I'm all in right now for about $160,000, and we're just held up right now because of the quarantine. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you pay cash for it, or did you
Yes.
finance it? You paid cash for it. So you guys are working on. You're both putting sweat equity into it, or you too far away? Or?
So I own it, and John.
One is sweating, one ain't doing nothing.
I'm sweating.
Okay, you're doing the sweat equity. He's the silent cash partner right now. And
He's paying for my sweat.
Yeah.
And to quantify that, just so we can be clear, I mean, if we're doing a case today, remember, guys, you guys are live, so just on Facebook. So if we need to get off, we get off, right? These forums are really just for us to bang and talk. So if you're okay staying live, then we'll stay live. But are we good with that? Is that all right? Everybody's comfortable? Okay, good. I mean, I want to make sure that we're just aware of that.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
no, you're right.
So Jonathan and Courtney aren't partners. Courtney is a sole prop, and he's
gotcha.
Gotcha.
I'm a hired
hired
general contractor
as a GC.
Yep.
So really, when I look at that scenario, there's only one person at risk. That's Courtney.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's got this property that he paid cash for, but he did it with loans. So now he's got back-end loans that he's trying to fill, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the case study, and I don't want to take it away too much, but the conversations we've had is he's already thinking about the next property. This one was going to be a buy and hold. My recommendation was not necessarily buy and hold. This one I think you want to flip. Get that cash back, have some liquidity, take a little bit that you might need for other things. Your next property, use some of that liquidity to buy so you can reduce your loans. But if you just leverage that out, and he's talking about like refinancing that property as a buy and hold, and then using the refi money you're going to be loaning. And that was the concern where I think you get over leveraged, you know. And I'm like, I look at this whole process as, from the most technical term for me, these are assets, right? On a balance sheet, these are assets. And assets are to be used and played with and dealt and shuffled. And I think Courtney's looking at it like, this is my love, my first property. I'm gonna hold it and rent it. And I'm like, dude, no, this is business. Business is business. Come up with a plan, get your liquidity in place, and do it that way. So now, with that backdrop,
I have one other thing. So here's something that a lender of mine pointed out about a property that I had listed. Actually, we had to pull it off because of the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Poor family in Ridgefield Park. Poor families there are rent controlled. But let's pretend you and Presto were like, hey, you know, the condo's nice, but we'll move anywhere. You move into the 4-family. Now you can finance because you're going to own or occupy it.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it with 3.5% down.
FHA loan.
So you say it again?
Almost like an FHA.
It's an FHA, right? So you can get that if you're going to own or occupy it. You move in there, you do the fix up from within the building.
Mm-hmm.
You stay there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get out and you've got that with 3.5% down. You know what I'm saying? You can do that with any multifamily. Well, I mean, you could do it with a single family too, but it made economic sense. You're collecting the other rents while you're living there and fixing it up. And it made perfect sense in that scenario. Just something to think about. If you're that, I had a contractor years ago, he'd buy a property, fix it up, live in it for a couple of years, and then move his family to something else. And I don't know about the tax ramifications of that, Mark. It's, you know, it was his primary residence, and as long as he occupied it for 3 years, he got out without tax implication. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. 3 years, 3 or 5, 3 years minimum, right? I think 3 years minimum, and that tax benefit is free when you get out. But that's an interesting way to want to live.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the other
That's
thing
what I'm saying. You have to be able to, you know,
it's a
be
lot.
a little bit of a
You really
gypsy.
got to plan. Yeah, I mean, and you know, then the question is, do I want my neighbors to be my tenants? You know how that, you know, it's like I always tell a story about when I had my home office when I used to work out of my home, and so I had this guy come in for his tax return. He came, we had our meeting, it was brilliant. We had a great meeting, and then he's like, I'm a trucker, I'm on the road a lot. I said, okay, you know, we work by appointment. When you're ready, you know, you let me know, and we'll set up an appointment for you to come in, you know, and pick up the return. You know, a couple of weeks pass, I don't hear from him. Then one night I'm in my house, relaxing, my little sip, you know how I'm sipping, and my front door, somebody knocks on my door. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. It was after 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock at night. Who's that? So then I open the door and it's this guy. I'm like, yo, dude, he looked lit. He was like, yo, man, just go off the road. I came to pick up my taxes. I was like, dude, it's 10 o'clock at night. You didn't tell me you were coming. He's like, yeah, man, but I just got off the road. I said, and it's 10 o'clock at night. He's like, so you telling me I can't get my taxes? Like, yo, dude, it's 10 o'clock at night. You're not getting nothing tonight, you know, and it was ugly. I was like, that's what I said, I need an office. I don't want my clients to know where I live. So if you're a tenant, if you're the landlord and you're living in a 4-family and the toilet back up, they're not going to be calling. They're going to be like, yo, Courtney, Courtney, can I borrow your plug? You can be like, it's 10 o'clock at night. You know, that's the one challenge with that multifamily thing that you'd have to really think about.
But you get, I mean, with an FHA loan, you're in there, if you stuck it out for a year, you've gotten, now that apartment is not rent controlled anymore, right? You bought the building for 3.5% down. Maybe you rented out the condo while you moved into the 4-family. Get it back. I don't know.
And you know what? Honestly, I tell people, taxes, you obviously would have planned for taxes. But when you're in the business of making money, don't be scared of taxes. Just plan for it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you stayed in it for 3 years, you would avoid the gain. But if you're selling 1/4 of a building, it's not like you're going to make so much money that you have to worry about the taxes. You plan for it.
Yeah.
And you do what you do. So that's part of the strategy, but it needs to be holistic in nature.
Yeah.
So
I'm
this turned
just
into
saying,
a
there's
real
other
estate
ways
meeting.
to skin the cat. You got to think outside the box sometimes, right?
Makes sense.
Courtney's always thinking outside the box. What we're trying to do with Courtney, honestly, in this business advisory situation that we are now in, I'm trying to get him to stay somewhere in the box. Like some people, like kids, they color outside the line. Courtney is off the page. But that's how it is. So it's especially when we start now, so it's definitely interesting to watch this whole evolution, But I think there's a lot of ideas that these guys are doing that are working with the properties in Philly. There's a specific reason why Courtney chose Philadelphia. That's why it worked out with him and Jonathan. It wasn't because of Jonathan, but he does a lot of research, and he ended up in Philly for a specific reason. And I think it's a sound reason, so that's really cool. So we said we try to make these things thematic. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the theme today. I thought it was an interesting one. I just can't remember it. So here it is. And let's get your thoughts. What do you think this means to you in business? You ready? The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. The road to success. What do you, John says, interesting. What do you think about that? Is that true from a business point of view? Just getting your thoughts. Nicole, you haven't spoken much. Is that true from a business point of view? What do you think?
The road to success and the road to failure is basically the same thing. Is that what you said?
It says, I'm reading the quote. This is a quote. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same.
I would say to a point, because you go through failures whenever you're trying to build a business. You have ups and downs, and there's days whenever you want to throw your hands up in the air. So I would say yes.
Okay, interesting. You think they're almost exactly the same. Anybody else?
I would say, yeah, to a degree as well. Not to ride the fence, but I'm with Nicole. I mean, you can make a series of decisions and it's just one or two that lead to failure versus success. Like, for instance, I think of a job that I had not too long ago, and I should have never took it, but I took it because I didn't ask one question. And because I didn't ask one question, that job almost turned into a complete failure until I snatched it out the fire a little bit and only lost 900 and not thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's all based off of one question that I did not ask. But everything before that point, I've done dozens of times with dozens of other clients and had dozens of successful installations. So yeah, I can agree with that the process is the same except for maybe one or two decisions.
Interesting. Okay. What do you think, Maria? Look like you're churning.
I don't know. It's so ominous to me. I think, you can hit snags along the way, and it's how you react to those things. Like Jonathan was just saying, he hit he encountered a stumbling block of some kind, and he pivoted to deal with it and saved himself, learned something big in the process. It's going to happen again, and he continues on his successful path. If he had not done that and let it cost him a lot, and then maybe got in his head and said, this isn't for me, happen anytime, and I can't be taking big jobs. I really need to, he could go down a completely, it could turn into a completely different path, and it was the same stumbling block that could pivot him down a different road, and I don't know. So in that case, it would be different. It could be the same path, but it's how you react to those things that you encounter along the way that make the difference between success and failure.
It's like, which road do you take? It depends on which road you go. If you go this path, it could be success. If you go this path, it could be failure. So it depends on what choices you make.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking something similar too, like, the roads are almost exactly the same, but there's a point when they're going to diverge, right? And you're going to start now going on this road. You're going to go on this road to failure, or you're going to stay on the road to success. But it does depend on certain choices. But the roads kind of do look the same,
But I think it's here, like Jonathan said, he took, it's how you view it. If you take responsibility for the thing and work to correct it, is one thing. If you sit back and say, oh, woe is me, look what happened to me, and sit in your garbage, then you're going down that other road. Yeah.
And I would just say, the roads might be exactly the same, like you said, it's how you navigate. And some people, when we did our podcast, Maria, you said the word that you need to be successful in business is grit. I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah,
grit,
grit.
right? Because we can all be on the same road, and then we see the speed bump, and some of us go, yo, that bump is high. I'm turning back. Others say, I'm gonna try to go around it, and others say, I'm going right over the top. So I think they are very similar, but it's really about how you navigate the road if you're going to be successful. And that's the case for, I think, any business owner. I think it's more about the person on the road than the road. The person on the road, right? Some people just make it happen. That's the one thing that I find with a lot of business owners. Even some who they might be in business and they might not be doing as well financially as they should be or they want to be, but they don't throw in the towel. They just keep plowing ahead, right? They keep making it happen. So now you're on the same road and you're just making it happen. Then I have some clients who are profitable who are like, this is too hard, man. I'm giving this up. I'm going to switch businesses. I'm like, you're profitable, but this is hard. I don't know if I can. You're not plowing through the road. I thought it was an interesting quotation. So I thought I wanted to get everybody's take on it.
When you said that though, not that this is the same thing, it reminded me of another quote that I heard where they said, stumbling blocks and stepping stones often look the same at first. So it's the same mindset, like what do you do when you get to that stone? Identify what it is and see how you're going to deal with it. And how you deal with it will determine your success or failure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Courtney.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't know, Courtney's a wise man. No, but it's true. It's true. And that's exactly right. I mean, you can fall over that rock or jump on top of it to get to the next one, right? And I don't know. I think with business owners, the successful ones, that's what I keep saying. That's even why I want to do the podcast. Like the successful ones all have like a mindset. It's just different. They just to start your own business, you have to have a mindset, right? You have to say like, you know what? I'm working for this guy, or I'm working for this girl, and they might even be a great boss, but I can probably do this and add my own. That's what business owners do. The question is, what does it take to sustain it? So grit, I forgot I was interviewing another owner, and he had 2 words: don't stop. He said, I just don't stop. Things pop up. I just keep going. It's like, that's true, And I always say, my opinion, because I've been in for a while now, when you finally get it right, it's a beautiful thing. When you finally get your business right, it's a beautiful thing. You, especially as the owner, you come to work dressed like you want. I mean, today I'm in my little sweatshirt because, the dry cleaners are all closed up. So I'm in my sweatshirt, but it don't matter. I don't have any. My dress code is my dress code. I'm actually standing here with no shoes on because I never wear shoes at the office. I was going to ask that question. Like the first thing I do when I walk in my office, I kick off my shoes. I walk around my office in my socks. I don't know why. Second thing I do is make coffee. It's weird, huh? Is that the first thing you do when you walk in your office? Kick off your shoes? Or is it just me?
No, never.
It's just you.
It's weird too. Like, I mean, I walk in, walk down the hallway, come in the door, walk to this desk, kick the shoes off, and then I get the cup and go get the coffee. I'm never in shoes. I'm a weirdo.
Jonathan can't do that. There's too many nails on the floor, and there's no coffee.
Yeah,
I was wondering if Jonathan did it.
Jonathan, no.
Maybe he's got those tribal warrior feet. I want to feel the cold pavement.
I get orange juice, and that's about it.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, guys, because we're at the half-hour mark, and we don't drag these things out. But I wanted to get a couple things to make sure that we always get value from these meetings. So I wanted your opinion. One of the things that we do in one of my groups that I'm in, I do this on Wednesdays with accountants. We try to make sure that we get something tangible, like an accountability session for the week. So we're all in business. We're trying to grow our business. Do you think we should incorporate something like we will commit to doing this next week for our business? You think we should incorporate that in these meetings? What do you think? Just your thoughts. Yay, nay, maybe.
How specific? I mean,
whatever it is. Like I'll tell you, in our accountability, in our accountants group, advisor group, because we're all business advisors. We all went to the same seminar. We did the same education. But we're all in different places in our business. But basically, we talk about, we have challenges like everybody else, and what can we do to improve this and that. But then we say, okay, so next week I want to commit to. In my advisory practice, and you guys haven't. Hopefully, you guys sit down and we actually create the profitability and growth plan, because that's what I have. Nicole and I created one for her, mm-hmm. But we're at the phase 2 next week. I can already tell her what she's going to commit to, because I'm going to make her commit to it. We're going to get our quarterly action plan done, But that's what I mean. Next week for me in my business, I have to commit to a few things in order to find success for the week, to consider the week successful. What makes your week successful? Okay. What makes my week successful next week, I'll commit first, is continue to finish up the steps that are needed for my podcast to launch to be successful.
Okay.
So I'm doing some buzz events. I'm doing, and I have to make sure to get my podcast webpage together. I want to get that done next week. That's my commitment. What about you? Do you think we should do that as a practice in our call? Because I like to talk and vibe with people. I do it all the time, but we always want to get something out of it, right? So I want to make sure that this Friday, our focus maybe is focusing for the next week. What do we focus on next week to have success in our business?
Okay.
What do you think? One thing. That's what
I could go with that. I'll commit next, since I'm here. So what would make my week successful next week is completing the permitting and licensing for this project that I'm overseeing for Courtney. So that's my whole focus next week. I'm scheduled to meet with an inspector. I'm pushing for a positive meeting. Looking forward to talking to him and getting some hurdles that we've encountered put to the side so that we can officially start construction.
Wow, I think Courtney just cried, Dave. We're moving. Thank you, Lord, we move. Sorry, go ahead. Forgive me, I'm a clown.
All right, I'm gonna go next. Can I go next? Is that all right?
Of course.
So first of all, I think it's a great idea to have that, because I find that when I set deadlines, then the motivation comes. If I don't, then I'm more inclined to procrastinate or kind of just put it off to the side or not prioritize what I need to prioritize. So I think that's a great idea, making that the actual Friday focus, with goals that you're going to try to achieve within the next week or coming days or whatever the case is. So for me, I've been back and forth with a few real estate attorneys and syndication attorneys, but I really need to pay the consultation fee and move forward, because I'm looking to get into syndication. I think that's going to be better for my business, manage monies and properties as opposed to so much just doing my own projects. And fortunately, I come from a network of people who are looking to do the same. And right now they have access to their retirement accounts penalty free. So I've actually been getting people reaching out to me. So now I want to make something of it, not just let it be a one-time occurrence and then I don't do anything about it and seize the opportunity.
Awesome. Awesome. And we talked about that too, right? Moving, real estate investing. I say it's not, that's not really a business. An investor is an investor. But to make a business out of it, you could add this piece to it. And I think we've been through that a few times. I think that's the perfect piece. I like it. So you're actually committed to getting the business part of it going in a different way.
Wow. I may have I don't know who I can talk to you offline, but I may have somebody you should talk to.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
you.
make a note.
Maria, if you don't know, now you know. Maria is the queen networker. There is no one that I have met in all of my years who is as magnificent when it comes to networking.
You're embarrassing. Just
I'm sorry. I told you embarrassed me too, because Maria talks to me more than my mama sometimes. I'll be like, I better. You're amazing in that regard. So yeah,
thank you.
that is definitely.
You said that in front of Jonathan? Oh, you were bold, my brother. Very bold.
It's all right. I claim my mother for myself anyway, so it's all good.
When the boys get together, one day we're gonna get Bitcoin, my oldest brother. We talking, and we had this conversation a few weeks ago. And we were talking, and they said, and my nickname is Chip, and so we were talking about each one of us, our personality problems. And then they said, my older brother says, and Chip, you just broke. You just broke it. I was like, yeah, I am. So whatever I say is all good. The family knows I'm already broken.
Damaged goods.
Yeah, I'm damaged goods. But the value of that, and this is a trick, because one person told me, why do you say that? There's a trick that a lot of them don't know. I'll reveal it. When you claim it, then you can't be blamed for anything. I'll be like, I know I just slapped you, but I'm broken. They'll be like, yeah, you're right. So it allows me to get away with all my dirt. Thank you. What can I tell you? Yeah, didn't know that, huh? If you don't know, well, now you know. Maria, did you want to commit to something?
Yeah, I feel like I'm, I don't know, our current climate is dragging me down a little. So another layer of accountability is all good for me.
Awesome.
So yes, I will commit to getting this new mailing program that I'm like, this much done by next Friday.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
That's heavy. All right.
The new marketing piece. Yeah.
Now, this is recorded. We live, but this is recorded. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this recording back, and I'm going to write down everybody's commitment. And then next time I talk to you, I'm going to see if you made it. Ooh. And hey, just no shame in the game if you don't. You know how many times I've committed in my accountability group and don't make it? That's life, though, right? That's life. We try. It doesn't mean we're gonna succeed, but we try. But if it's there, we at least put forth effort. And if we can take it one step further, we're gonna grow our business. So no pressure, no stress. A wise man used to say that all the time. No pressure, no stress. But it's good to have it. So I like it. We're all committed to something.
No, Nicole, what'd you commit to?
Me? What am I committing to? Okay, I am committing to making my appointment with Mark for my profiting growability for my company.
Okay.
I am signing on a new client and doing all my onboarding for that next week, and holding Mark accountable for everything that he needs to do to get his podcast up and going.
So it's an interesting scenario, right? Because I am a business advisor and I hold people accountable. That's what I do. But God knows I need people to hold me accountable. So Nicole is doing that for me. She's like, dude, you said you were going to do it. I'm like, I know, but see what happened. I just get it done. We all need accountability, and so, yeah, she'll be holding me accountable. Next week, Friday, I hope to get mine done. I'm excited. Honestly, though, I will say this. For the first time ever, these last few months, even though we've had, it's been a whirlwind, I have worked more on my business than in it, ever. And I knew the value of it for years. So I'm going to say this for a reason. I knew the value for years, and I've done it for years. But it's so hard to stay focused on your business, especially as it starts to grow, without the right team. So the team is what's allowed me to work for the first time on my business more than in it than ever before. So I'm fortunate because I have a team now. You know, I have 3 people working with me, and it allows me to do what's the most important thing. And Maria dropped this dime on the podcast, rainmaker, right? To be the rainmaker, there's a point when you have to get that team, or else you're going to be stuck in your little goal, and you won't grow that way. So I will say that this, and part of my team, Nicole is part of that team, and she's the one that's helping me to stay accountable on the marketing side, which is going to make a difference going forward. I'm confident of it. And I have another marketing advisor, Charlie Price, right? So, but it's important to have that. It's important. One more thing I'm going to drop on you guys, because we were really, Nicole and I, we had a session, if you don't mind me sharing.
No.
And one of her challenges with her business is that pursuit of perfection. And you know what happens when you are trying to be perfect? Nothing happens, right? And so we talked about how to combat that. And I talked about creating what I call mini projects. So get something, get it out, test it, and then tweak it. You might find it's a point where you can settle. It will allow you to at least get it out, right? But what makes it powerful is if you create, and I'm telling you all this because I think we all need to have it. Maria, you probably already have it. But Courtney, specifically, I was thinking about you, myself. You need a board of directors. We should all have a board of directors. Huge companies have it, right? It's this group of people that they turn to for all these different things. They have to have board meetings. Every small business owner, in my opinion, it's my new epiphany, and I probably stole it from somewhere, then it just came back in the back on its own, should have a board of directors. What do I mean? Yes, Maria?
I think I've heard it called an advisory board.
Correct.
And
Yes.
so you have like a tax professional and a attorney and a this and a that and to help you with your business.
Yeah, that's much like it. But when I think of the board of directors, though, I'm not thinking verticals per se. And that might be something different. I'll tell you why. To me, the board of directors is just, and it's not big. It might be 3 or 4 people who you trust, respect, probably like, who think somewhat like you, but somewhat different, so that you can have the same set of eyes tackling your same challenges. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I'm doing the podcast right now. My board of directors is going to listen to the podcast before I listen to it, or as I listen to it. When I want feedback, I don't want to ask 40 people, and I don't want to ask differently. I'm going to rely on Nicole as my board member, Courtney as my board member. I didn't ask you yet, but you're on the board. And I have a couple other people who are my board of directors. But that goes not just for that, but for other things as well, where people will listen to it, listen to my ideas, and kind of keep me reined in. So that's the board. You don't have to have specialty in tax or legal. That's a whole different thing. You need an advisory board. But the board of directors is just a small group that we listen to. Because what I find, and it's just and I've been advising a lot of people in the last several months, a lot of new business owners, they listen to what I tell them, and then they go to their friend, and they go to that other friend, and then they listen to a podcast, and they listen to this, and they read. So they have all these different voices. And I think that's a mistake, because while there's beauty in having a breadth of knowledge, there's this damage that we do and that we never move forward. We're so busy getting it here and here. So just pick your little board, check with those people, and be done. And then make your decision. That's the board that I'm talking. It's almost like an action board of directors. So I'm going to leave everybody with this task who wants to do it. Nicole, I didn't tell you it was going to be part of your task. You're going to write down your board members. My board members are. And we're going to discuss your board members. And then maybe you'll have a board meeting. But I wanted to throw that at you guys. We're going to write down our board members. Ask them to be on your board. It just means, when I do a design and I'm not sure about I'm not artistic in nature. If I'm not sure how this picture looks, I'm going to send it to my board members. It's going to be the same 5 people, the same 4 people. If I'm not sure about moving out of my office and I just want to vibe, I'm going to ask my board members, just to that's what that is. That's really what I want everybody to do. Have just a specific set. The one thing I hate is when I do something and I give somebody some advice and then they say, well, I spoke to my friend and they said something completely opposite. Okay, that's cool. But my other friend said, and I read this book. Look, man, you need a common voice. You will always get different opinions. That's just the nature of life, right? Is the sky blue or is it aqua? Or is it sky blue?
Mm-hmm.
Get this common 4 or 5 people, not a big board, 4 or 5, and let that be your board members, your action board members. So when you need to make a decision, you have it, and you use those people. That's what I want to share with you guys. I'm going to write my board members down. I'm going to invite them to join my board. I think we should all have a board of directors. I'm done. That's my 2 cents, y'all. Cool.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Hold on. If I drop it, it's just going to shatter in 50 pieces. I got that cheap one from ShopRite now. All right, guys. So we got a lot out of this thing. I think we got a lot out of it. Somebody was on Facebook saying, hello, Mark, Jonathan, Nicole, Maria, and Courtney. Whoa.
Cool.
That's my girl. Hopefully we can do this again next week. And I would love to start to plot our success, our journey. Cool. Anything else? Anybody got any parting shots?
I'm waiting for you to call me back. I upload my files to your people.
I know, bro.
That's on your to-do list. That's your obligation as well.
Yes,
you're
absolutely right.
Do you need me to hold him accountable for that, Jonathan?
Please, Nicole, I would greatly appreciate that because I would like to pay myself this month.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I just wrote it down.
Thank you.
I'm actually having an accounting meeting right after this for that. So we're gonna be plotting the next week. So meetings.
Looking forward to that email.
So what does Michael K say? Life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. You know that one? No? Nobody listens to Michael K.
No.
Michael K, if you're listening, they don't listen to you, brother. That's how he sounds.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks so much. Let's do it again.
Yeah, and Courtney, I will reach out. I'm going to check in with this guy, Frank Uzi, and then I'm going to circle back to you. And Nicole, I will get in touch with you before Friday.
Okay. Sounds good. It was nice to meet you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.